Hi everyone, today we're wrapping up our trip to Michigan's Upper Peninsula with a trip to one of the most beautiful and remote places on earth, the Keweenaw Peninsula.
Whether you're traveling by RV or car, we're going to give you our best tips on places to stay and things to do, as well as a tour of our cabin and RV campground. Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters, striving to live life to the fullest.
Our goal with our videos is to give you the best tips and tricks so you can live your best second phase of life. As a reminder, today, as we mentioned, we're in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, in the Keweenaw Peninsula. Now, the UP is the area of Michigan that's up on the north side of Lake Michigan, and it's bordered on the west and the south by Wisconsin or Lake Michigan. On the east, it's bordered by Lake Huron, on the north by Lake Superior. So it's very remote up there. And today we're at the most remote part of the Upper Peninsula. So the remote of the remote part, which is the Keweenaw Peninsula. And that's way to the northwest part of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And it's quite a drive to get over there, but it is absolutely worth it. It is full of hiking trails, ATV riding, waterfalls, the shores of Lake Michigan. It is absolutely gorgeous and some of the best vistas you'll ever see anywhere in the world.
Beautiful. There's two ways to arrive there. The first is you can come up through the northern Wisconsin, and the second is through Michigan. You have to cross the Mackinac Bridge and then travel to the west. So if you haven't yet, you can see our video on the Mackinac Bridge and on crossing it. Keep in mind, even after you've crossed the Mackinac Bridge, to get from one side of the Upper Peninsula to the other is a good 6-hour drive.
However, for that 6-hour drive, as we've mentioned in a couple previous videos, the roads are good. If you're an RV, there are passing lanes. They actually have, surprisingly for being in a place that gets hundreds and hundreds of inches of snow a year, the roads are actually very good in the summer.
Plenty of rest areas too, where you can stop and rest and refuel.
Right, and these rest areas are gorgeous. They're right along Lake Superior. They themselves are a destination. So,
right.
No, very, very good. Now, we stayed at the Wilderness Campground RV resort and cabins, and it's on Lake Lac La Belle, and forgive my French.
It was beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it was a great place to stay. The owner and operators are amazing people. They are there. They're owners and operators. In fact, I'll give you one example. We were taking our ATVs up there with us, and we wanted to know about where the trails were, is it directly accessible, etc. And we called, at the time we called, they weren't in at the office, and so we left a message. They called us back in like 5 minutes and spent a ton of time with me on the phone telling us about the best way to drive there and the ATV trails and all the little hints and tricks. It was just, they were so accommodating and so friendly. We can't recommend them enough.
I agree. And if you're coming up with an RV, be sure to call them ahead of time, because some of those turns to get into that area are quite sharp, and they're going to kind of give you a little back way around, so it'll be much easier for you to navigate a large RV.
Yes, absolutely. Well, as for the RV park, it's very well done. It's not huge. It's a very intimate RV park, but they have all the sites. They have full hookups up to 50 amp. They have water, sewer. Every site has a picnic table, a fire pit. They have some that are pull through, some that are back ends. But it's nestled in the trees there, real near Lake Lac La Belle, where you can put a boat in if you want. And it's also not a bad drive to the other sites and places that you could get to within the UP.
Yep. So we stayed in the cabin. It was quite roomy, had a beautiful front porch, which we spent a lot of time sitting out on the porch,
including
and enjoying
doing
the weather.
barbecuing some hamburgers.
Yes, and then when we went inside, there was a large entryway for muddy boots, jackets, a living room, a full kitchen with everything that you need to make your meals. It had a nice size bedroom with a queen size bed, a roomy bath. So it was really quite spacious. In the evenings, I would make a charcuterie board, and each space had a fire pit, and you would light a fire, and we'd sit out there with a drink and snacks, and it was just perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Summers in the UP, you just cannot beat them. They're just amazing. Yeah.
Pro tip, friends, be sure to book early. I mean, when we were there over the weekend, it was completely filled. I think they had a few spaces available on the weekdays that we were there. But again, be sure to book early.
And that really goes for almost anything you're going to do in the Upper Peninsula. Remember, this entire Upper Peninsula of Michigan, huge area, has around 230,000 people that live up there. And the summer is their tourist season. So there's not that many hotels, not that many RV parks. I mean, they are there and they're very nice that are up there, but you need to think ahead. If you're going to go to the Upper Peninsula, honestly start looking now to book for the next year because it's that way you make sure you get the place you want in the area you want. Well, let's get into some of the great adventures we had while we're in the Upper Peninsula. First and foremost, as we mentioned, we went ATV riding. Now, we have a couple of our own ATVs that we haul around with us, but you can rent ATVs in the Upper Peninsula. And so if you haven't ever done that, honestly, the trails are quite good as long as you stay on the main trails. Some trails are shared between snowmobiles and ATVs, others are ATV only, others are snowmobile only. So you want to watch that designation as you're doing
Things are well marked. And,
yes.
And yeah, it really is a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
give that some consideration if you haven't tried that yet.
Right, and actually at the front desk at the Wilderness Resort, and you can get these many different places, you can get an actual ATV/snowmobile trail map that can help you map your way on those trails. But we just can't stress how beautiful it is. One of the reasons we take our ATVs, we're not necessarily the big, rock crawling, mud slinging, big adventure ATV riders. Well, at least one of us is not, but we just enjoy it because you can get closer to nature. You can get deep in the woods. You can go to places that you haven't necessarily been before. One example, we were just cruising along on our ATVs and a full-grown bald eagle literally swooped down right in front.
Eye level.
And of course I didn't have the camera running at that time.
From us. It gives me goosebumps even thinking about it today.
And we've seen all kinds of wildlife. We've seen bears, we've seen elk, we've seen deer. You'll see all kinds of things on the ATV trails. And the trails are really good and well marked.
Before we continue on about the ATV trails, I'd like to invite you to like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you'll know when we release other videos like this.
Yes, absolutely. Our goal, as we said in the beginning, is really just to make helpful videos for whatever you're doing, be it in the second phase of life or not, but really people, videos that can help you out. And so just reach down and press that little like button and subscribe.
Thanks, friends. We appreciate it.
So if you do like ATV riding or want to give it a try, this is a great place to go do it. And one of the amazing things about the Upper Peninsula and riding ATVs is you can almost ride them anywhere, except major roads. You can't ride them on the major roads, but side roads into town, you can take them in and ride your ATV and have lunch. You can go to the grocery store. You can ride all over the place. A couple of the places that we highly recommend if you're going to ride to is the Mountain Ridge Trail. And that goes all the way up to this beautiful ridge where you can see out over Lake Superior and you can see to the end of the peninsula and you can overlook Lake Fanny Ho. And yeah, that really is the name, Lake Fanny Ho. It's H-O-O-E, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous view. We rode our ATVs all the way to the tippy tip of the peninsula, which is High Rock Bay. The up of the upper, High Rock Bay. And so we rode our ATVs. There actually is a road. We took the ATV trail, but there is a road that goes there as well. And you can see in these pictures, some people took their cars, they took their own RV out there. However, to be honest, I wouldn't recommend doing it. That road is really rough and can get rutted out and deep. So I mean, viewer discretion advised. It's that's your choice and you can make those. But I probably wouldn't take my RV all the way out there.
Other than ATV riding, we did quite a bit of hiking. We hiked to Horseshoe Bay Beach, which is along Lake Superior. Pro tip here, friends. The black flies were not nice there. They bring along some heavy-duty DEET or something, and even that sometimes doesn't really help when those black flies are in season.
In fact, one of the best things you can do is, again, if you haven't seen our hiking video, take a look at that. Wear a lightweight, like long sleeve shirt, long pants. It's just for a precaution, because the black flies, if they're in season, can be pretty bad.
And I think they're only in season for a couple of weeks, and we hit it at the wrong time. But so we took some driving tours as well, and we went to the Jampot, which is a lot of fun. The Jampot is run by the monks of Poor Rock Abbey, and it's a small little place. So keep in mind, you can only fit a few people in there at a time. And even though we're telling you this place isn't very populated, the Jampot creates a line. There can be a long line waiting, so just be patient and you'll get in. They have cakes and muffins and cookies and other goodies.
Of course, jams and preserves and apple butters and
coffees.
Yeah, they roast their own coffee.
Yeah, and so we got the Abbey cake. We got which was a bourbon-soaked cake. We got a Jamaican Black Forest cake.
Jamaican black cake, yeah.
Black cake, which was a rum-soaked cake, and they didn't hold back.
Oh, when we say soaked,
delicious.
Yeah, so these are wrapped in a cheesecloth in plastic and a second plastic, and when you open it up, the rum or the bourbon is almost pouring out of the cake. Yeah, so be ready for that.
Yeah, the muffin was yummy. We bought a couple bags of coffee that we brought home, and
in fact, we got a little video clip of us opening that muffin here. So take a look here.
Okay, check this muffin out. It's huge.
Go ahead and take it out of the wrapper there.
I will.
Yeah. And this is how they make money for their order.
It weighs about a pound. Look at this. This is crazy.
So they do jams, jellies, muffins. It's extremely famous. Can I try a piece? Mm-hmm. Nothing better than the muffin top. Here we go.
It's good.
Oh, that is good.
We need some of our jam to put on it too. While we were there, we also picked up some apple butter and some wild berry jam. Absolutely delicious. Friends, we can't stress this. This is kind of a must-stop place. It really is.
Yeah, it sounds like going, all the way to one of the most remote places in the United States to get a muffin. But it was amazing.
And right next door is Jacob's Waterfalls. So it's a two for
one.
Yeah.
Oh, and while we were there, it wasn't season. They were just coming into season, but the UP is known for these thimbleberries.
Oh, yeah. Those are yummy. They didn't have enough pick to make thimbleberry jam at the time, but at our RV park, there were a few that were nice and red.
Yeah, you'd go out and pick them, and we had some, with our charcuterie board.
Yes, we would.
So watch for the thimbleberry jam. It's a very UP thing.
Yes, it is.
Well, much like you saw in our central UP video, one of the big reasons people come to the Upper Peninsula is waterfalls, and the Keweenaw Peninsula does not disappoint there
My favorite
at all.
things to visit.
And the nice thing about that is there's some that you hike to, but if you saw in our previous video where we hiked 13 miles, we didn't have to do anything like that here. Most of the waterfalls you could drive right up to, or maybe they were a quarter-mile hike or a half-mile hike or something like that. But we saw Manganese Falls, Jacob's Falls, as you mentioned earlier, that's right next to the Jampot, Eagle River Falls, we saw Silver Creek Falls, and your personal favorite, Hungarian Falls.
That was spectacular, friends. Those have been some of the most beautiful waterfalls I've ever seen. I mean, when you think of waterfalls, many of you will think of Niagara Falls. Are very grand. But Hungarian, the setting and the scenery, there's an upper, middle, and a lower falls. You can hike to them all relatively easily. But don't miss those. Do not miss those.
And it is a bit of a hike. It's maybe a mile and a half round trip, so be ready for that. Yeah. But the trail's well marked. It's a very clear path. Takes you right to the falls. I would say if you're going to go down to the middle falls, I think it is, there's a small amount of what I'll call bouldering. I mean, you got to kind of climb on a couple rocks to get down there. Nothing I would consider, excessive, extreme, or dangerous. But just be aware, you want to wear good shoes and be ready for that. Maybe bring hiking poles with you, as we've recommended.
You must not miss those.
One thing to remember about coming to the Upper Peninsula, the Keweenaw Peninsula, this is not a place where you go to see grand man-made, cities and architecture and things of this nature. You come to see grand God-made adventures. It is truly, and as you've gotten to know us, we've traveled quite a bit around the world. This truly is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and it is worth the bit of extensive driving that you have to do to get up there, you will not be disappointed in your visit to the UP.
That is so true, so true. So friends, please leave us a comment. Have you been to the Keweenaw Peninsula? Have you been to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan? What have been your favorite places to see and visit? What did we miss? So thanks friends for watching. We appreciate you being here. Have a great Living Phase 2 day.
Bye-bye.